Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you had a good time on New Year's Eve and were together with the people you wanted to be with. And that 2015 will be an awesome year. But since it's the 1st of January, it's time to do the December wrap-up. December was an active month because I did Vlogmas, and I want to thank all of you for enduring me with that and participating in the discussions, watching my videos and giving me feedback. I had a wonderful time. So let's have a look at all the videos I uploaded in December, which of course were a lot. Let's start with tag videos. I did the Secret Diary of a YouTuber tag, the Achilles heel tag, the Grinch book tag, the movie adaptation book tag, the Christmas tag with the book jazz together, and also the Shelves of Fate tag. In December, I also managed to do another art assignment, the Expanded Moment. I showed you a baking video for some of my favorite cookies, and I offered you the chance to read all my flash fiction that I wrote during NaNoWriMo, which I used your first sentences for, so that seemed only fair. I've been uploading them to my Tumblr, and the last stories will go up on the 2nd of January. So then all of them will be up. The link to my Tumblr will be in the description if you want to read them. We had a cool discussion about reading books that you don't know anything about, because that's something I like to do. And a lot of you were not really that open and said that's a funny thing, and you were more open to do that in libraries than when buying books, which is fine. I encourage you to do that. It's a little like the blind book buying thing, but with less knowledge, just the cover. And out of this discussion, I also showed you a lot of books that I bought due to the cover, and I also told you about the most read authors that I have, like authors I read more than 10 books of. Another great discussion we had this month was about that fiction is not reality. And some of you mentioned that you do want to learn from books and you do want to get something out of that, and you refuse to say that fiction is not reality because then the whole purpose of learning from books is not there. And I want to remind you that I was talking strictly about romance novels. Of course, we all know that fiction is not reality, but we can learn from that. I don't say anything against that. It's just the fact that in romance novel we get an idea of how reality might look, and for some reason we expect to find that in reality, but in reality the things that sound good in books are just not good. And I was limiting that to the romance novels, YA contemporaries, or the chick lit, the rom-coms, fiction like that. For other fiction, I'm definitely all for we can learn from books, we can find out how other people are, how they deal with life, and apply that to our lives. But that's more realistic in the fiction way already. I also showed you my success with my TBR pile. Last year during Vlogmas I measured it and it was 73 centimeters, and I got it down to 68 centimeters and exchanged a lot of the books that were in there. So that was quite cool. And I had a lot of you looking at your TBR piles, how it changed, and it was very interesting. Another thing we talked about this month was discipline and how important that is to get things done and how not disciplined we all are. That sort of led to a running update, which shows that I haven't been very disciplined running lately. We also talked about December and how funny the month is and how you want to get everything done, and yeah, and the cold and the laziness. Those were interesting discussions as well. And of course I also told you my reading resolutions for 2015 and the numbers of my reading in 2014. I made you a present for Christmas where you could read with me for 5 minutes, and I sang you a song, the book haul song. Thank you all for your great feedback on that. I was not sure if I should upload this because I really don't feel that I can play the ukulele or sing. But you were all very positive in your answers. Thank you for that. Now let's get to the books. I only uploaded one review this month of Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich, which is the first in the Peter Grant series, and I didn't like the book. It's well written in a way, but the problem for me was that the writing reflects the main character's, the main character's character, and I really did not like him. He's very authentic in his narration and in his personality for a young British man, but I did not like him, and I did not like that he kept getting distracted and that the distraction kept being reflected in the narration. A book I have talked about in the summer already but never reviewed, and I don't want to review it, is Dante's Inferno, which I finally finished, but I don't think I gave it enough attention. This book offers the opportunity to do that because it has an introduction into Dante's life and also comments and notes about the cantos and the actual text. I like the translation, so I would recommend this edition. but I really need to spend time with that and think about it before I can actually form an opinion about this, other than it's interesting. Yesterday I finished The Girl Who Fell Beneath Fairyland and Led All the Rebels There by Catherine M. Valente. This is the second book in a series, and you know that I really liked the first one, how colorful the descriptions are, how Fairyland is portrayed and everything that happened. In this one we find September and Fairyland below, and everything is a lot darker there, and we have the shadows living in Fairyland below and taking all the magic there. So there's a lot of free magic and they're all having fun, they're all being nasty. This is more about how a person has two sides to themselves, and that the shadow had a different personality than the normal person. September finds her old friends, A to L and Saturday, but they are different. And it's very interesting, this book. It was not as good as the first one. I liked it a little bit more, but maybe because the narration wasn't as new anymore, and I felt a lot lectured in this, which is okay because it's a children's book and she wants to teach children something, and I think she does a good job with that. But for me as a grown-up, I was sometimes like, oh, okay, I get the picture. I also listened to 2 audiobooks this month. The first was Supriya by Gus Nix, narrated by Tim Curry, and the narration is very wonderful, but the whole book is very slow, so I kept not paying attention that much. It's a fantasy novel, it's the first in a series, and we have Sabriel, who's the daughter of the Aporson, who's a necromancer taking care in the Old Kingdom that everything works, and his daughter was sent to the neighboring world where magic is not predominant. And when her father disappears, she has to go into the Old Kingdom and try to find him and start a quest. And it is a typical quest story. It's well done, but for me it felt a little bit slow. And I'm not sure if it was the narration, the time that I wanted to get through it so fast, and that I listened to long stretches of story, which after a time I was just like, yeah, my mind was drifting. The second audiobook I listened to was Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and that was a surprise to myself, because I had never really planned to read or listen to the audiobook. I know the story, I know it's awesome, but I just was never in the mood for it. But in October, I think, there came out a new version, a narration by Tim Robbins, and I really like Tim Robbins. And I can tell you this audiobook is amazing. The way he narrates the story is just so good. And what do I need to tell you about the story? It's awesome, it's still important for today, and it's scary how much it represents and reflects today's society, and not the good sides. So if you want to read the book and you're not sure if you're really interested in picking it up, I recommend the audiobook by Tim Robbins. It's so good. So good, seriously. I hope this doesn't turn out too long. It's like 12 minutes now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for a lovely December. Thank you for a lovely 2014. And I hope 2015 will be just as great for us. I just lost my voice. Tell me in comments how your December was. Bye bye.